So my name is Ken Morrison. I'm the EAP / benefits guy for Local 591 based out of Chicago, and I've got Tony.
I'm Tony Lepore, Local 591, and we're here with Mike Gaziano from Recovery Ways. Mike, why is family important in mental health and addiction?
So part of the question you're asking is around the family piece. And with families, we want them to be involved in the journey of recovery with their loved ones. You know, what we find is that if families are actually engaged in helping and supporting them as they go through this process, we have a lower recidivism or rate of people to repeat those poor behaviors by having that additional support with them. It reduces the level of them having to end up back into treatment to this level of care. So as a licensed clinical social worker of 30 years and been doing this work for that long, when I bring my families in and they're willing to be part of this journey, it has made a huge difference, because what you're basically saying is we're in it together rather than I'm just sending you away and then I just want you to be better when you come home. I want people to say, I want to work with you and learn not only how I make changes for myself, but how I can be supportive to you as well.
So in the families that have mental health or addiction things going on, are there certain roles that those family members play outside of, treatment?
Yeah. So we all play roles, and it usually starts from what we call our family of origin, where we come from, how we were raised. Some of us are taught to be sort of rescuers or to take care of other people. And so in this dynamic with somebody who's struggling with substance use or mental health issues, family members will often take on a role of wanting to be a rescuer, and sometimes that rescuing is actually enabling or enhancing the unhealthy behaviors to continue. So yes, they take on roles. They may take on roles of being the rescuer. They may take on roles of being what we call the perpetrator. And the perpetrator means that they get very intolerant of the person's mental health and substance behaviors, cut them down, say, you lazy frog dog, why aren't you changing your behavior? Looking at ways to judge them and ridicule them because they're feeling like it's a character flaw. So they may have been taught early on that you're supposed to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and they have a lot of problems with tolerance around an illness because they think it's something around willpower and don't realize that it's also some neurochemistry going on. So they can take on the roles of that person as the enabler, the rescuer. They can take on the role as as what we would call that perpetrating person. Sometimes they can take on the role of being a victim themselves and saying, you know what? You got problems, look at what's happening to me in my life. You think that you're the one that needs to go get help? I've been struggling for so long that I'm miserable, and now you tell me you're the one that's going to go away and you're not letting me get help. So they get oftentimes feeling victimized themselves. One of the roles that happens is that we actually think that we're going to make others a project and take care of and rescue them. And so they take on that role of being a fixer, okay? And I went to the DU University and got my master's in fixology because I want to fix, take care of, and rescue. And what I learned is I can only work on changing myself. And the roles that they have to come to an acceptance is, what maybe do I contribute to the struggles we're having within our family going on right now?
Thanks, Mike.
Absolutely.
So Mike, what if the family is done with the addict?
So that's a really good word, because that means they're at what I call the fuzzy factor point of the relationship. I am no longer going to watch you self-destruct or engage in behaviors that I have to be contributing to. So they hit their bottom. Many times family members hit their bottom before the actual person who's needing help hits theirs. When I'm crispy and I'm done in this relationship because I'm no longer going to support it, all of a sudden there's a level of accountability and responsibility to the person struggling, going, wow, no one's rescuing me anymore, no one's going to fix it for me. Perhaps I need to start looking at it. So I think it's fair to say when I feel like I'm done, what I'm saying out loud is, I can't do this anymore. Now, I may be willing to support you in your recovery, I'm just no longer going to contribute to you in your illness. And that's that done piece. And I feel like it's important for families to say to themselves, because I love and care about you enough, I'm going to be honest that I just can't do this anymore. And we call that setting boundaries. And one of the fascinating things about boundaries that people don't realize is they think a boundary is to change the other person's behavior. That's not what a boundary is. A boundary is, what am I going to do differently to change the way I respond to you? So if you show up home and you've been drinking and you want me to call in sick for you at work the next day, I'm going to say, you know what? No, I'm not doing that anymore. It's up to you. You need to be accountable for your own behavior. Setting boundaries does not change the other person. It changes the way that you respond to the other person. So what we try to create is when someone says, I'm done, they're also saying, I don't know what else to do besides say that I'm leaving this relationship. I encourage them to use the word, I will reevaluate the relationship based on your commitment to recovery and what I need to do to be a healthier person as well.
Great.
So, Mike, can you define normalcy in an addicted family?
What an interesting word normalcy is, because it's actually a setting on a dryer, normal, right? There is no real normal. It's what is tolerable in a family with addiction. Many times we'll deal with chaos and crisis on a day-to-day basis, and that becomes our normal. It's almost like we're expected to walk on these eggshells and deal with life in a very chaotic way, because if it got too calm, someone's going to sabotage it in the family. What we have found over time is that when someone gets active in their recovery, someone else will step up and create more crisis and chaos, because that is the normal, you know. For me, growing up, it was normal to be very loud and demonstrative because I come from a very strong Sicilian family. So the normal was people yelled and they would demonstrate with passion their emotions. So when I got married to this Norwegian woman and she would say to me, you're yelling at me. And I'd look at her and say, I'm not yelling, I'm just expressing with passion my thoughts because that's the way I am. So in normalcy, we always think that there's some measurement of what is normal. I don't know what normal is. I just know that there are things that are healthier. So in an addictive family, normalcy can oftentimes feel like you're losing your mind, that you yourself are feeling like you must be something wrong with you because this person tells you they love you and they continue to act in these ways. So part of the normalcy that you run into in addiction is self-doubt, shame, guilt, fear, anger, resentment. Those are becoming the normal. And the sad part is when you get used to that, you don't know what it feels like to have stability, serenity, and a sense of calmness in your life. You'll tend to stir it up or something.
So would you say then that the family is just as sick as the individual in a lot of cases?
It's a very interesting question. I will tell you that there's 3 C's in recovery for people to understand the family piece. You didn't cause it, okay? You can't cure it, and you can't control it. However, you can contribute to it, right? So the 4th C, which isn't in there, I just added it, is contribution. So families absolutely will contribute to the illness of the addictive person or the person struggling with mental illness or whatever that problem is. And it isn't in a purposeful way that they're contributing. It's usually through a place of love and a desire to help, that you can actually sabotage or love someone to death. Let me be candid. If I care so much about a person that I just want to keep rescuing and taking away all of their burdens, how am I helping them? I'm basically enabling them to eventually self-destruct, and I'm the one contributing to it. So I have to take a look at the fact, if I come to the understanding I can't control it, because I tried for years, tried to tell them what to do, tried to hide the bottle, tried to put a number on the bottle, know where it was at. You know, it's funny, when you try to catch someone in a lie and you know they lied, what are you actually trying to do? To get them to show that you knew they lied? That's not going to help. So you can't control it. There's not a cure. What there is recovery, which is a lifelong process. And there is also, the fact that there isn't a cure for it. You know, it's work that needs to be done. So can't control it. There's not a cure for it, and you didn't cause it. Because if you were the cause, then all I'd have to do is work with you. As a therapist, I'd say, come in my office, I'll work with you and the other family members will be fine because you're the problem, right? You're the cause. You contributed, you didn't cause it.
Okay, all right, great, thank you.
You're welcome.
So with that, what are healthy boundaries when it comes to supporting family members in recovery?
So one of the healthiest boundaries to look at is learning to become a caregiver versus a caretaker. Okay, a caretaker says, oh, I'll do this for you, I'll manage this for you, I'll call this person, I'll do all the things so that you don't have to do anything, even though you could do it. A caregiver is the boundary where you say, you know what, because I love and care about you, I'll provide you information, I'll give you an opportunity, I'll give you the time off to go and take care of these things. I'm just not doing it for you. I'm learning to support you in your recovery. I'm just not going to take care of you in your illness anymore. Healthiest boundary is to say, I will no longer engage in this. I will not provide you the resources to self-destruct, and we may need to reevaluate our living situation, our relationship, or my financial commitment. Those are boundaries to help in supporting recovery.
Well, thank you. I'm Tony Lepore from Local 591.
And I'm Ken Morse from Local 591. Thank you very much, Mike, for joining us.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Thank you.